Hi and welcome. Welcome to our Just Breathe practice. We want to turn our attention inward. And Patanjali called this the pratyahara. Now, in the sutra tradition, there's 8 limbs, right? Yamas and niyamas, these are the ethical principles. Asana, the posture that we sit in, whether it's standing, sitting, or lying down. Pranayama, pratyahara, and then we move right into meditation. And so this month, both in Just Breathe and in Just Pause, we're going to look at that pratyahara as a stepping stone between the breathing and perhaps reaching samadhi, or that sense of oneness, the ultimate progression of our meditation practice. So for our Just Breathe practice, let us find a comfortable sit, preferably upright, in order to support the spine and the movement of the diaphragm. We'll breathe and we'll turn our attention inward. And then for our Just Pause practice, we'll pick up right here, breathe, turn our attention inward, and travel deeper, perhaps, into the stages of meditation. So welcome. Find a comfortable place to sit. Perhaps the hands rest on your lap or by your side. Maybe they even thread together like a little index finger taming, and the palms rest on my lap so that the shoulder blades soften down the back and the head stacks at the top of the spine, resting in its alignment. Turning your attention inward might be supported by closing the eyes or finding a soft gaze of something to look at, but with a blurred vision, something far away, something across the room, or even something stable, but with variation, like a candle wick. Right? Whatever you choose. Notice that breath as it enters and as it exits. I am frequently amazed at how great it feels to turn my attention inward and to just be with my breath. But I'll be honest, it wasn't always that way. It's taken time and dedication to this practice to find that rest, that allowing ease in the moment to moment attention of just breathing, of just being. So don't give up if you don't feel that sense of ease washing over you, that allowing, helping you to settle. Stay with the practice. It'll come. And as this is our Just Breathe practice, we're going to follow our attention with the breath as it enters the nose, swirls in the sinus cavities, and descends to enter the lungs. The ribs and diaphragm expand, meaning the diaphragm contracts, the belly and the ribs expand. And then on that exhale, everything softens. You might even choose an ujjayi, a closing of the throat muscles on that exhale. And that's to link the throat and the pelvic floor, working together to retrain this coordination of effort in the breath. The diaphragm works on the inhale, and the throat and the pelvic floor, particularly the pelvic floor for moving, works on the exhale. So whether you visualize or tap into sensation around the rib cage, this is your diaphragm moving, the diaphragm of breathing. Feel it expand and contract. then let's layer it on, bring our attention to our throat. Ujjayi on the exhale. Closing the throat like to whisper. It's also called ocean sounding breath. Whether it goes out the nose or out the mouth, what is most accessible to you today? Just notice and adapt your practice to what you can sense, what you can be aware of. Good. Now transition to the attention of that pelvic floor lifting again on the exhale. So effort, exhale, E-E, okay? Exhale, gather as if you were to stop the flow of your own urine, your own bowels, just drawing that in and up. Whatever you feel is enough. As you practice, you will gain more awareness, more skill at noticing, as well as more control in this area. What we pay attention to grows. And in this case, it deepens our awareness. Now, whether you layer that pelvic floor lift with the ujjayi of the throat, that's entirely up to you. But just soften both on the inhale for now. Now, one of the most common conditions of resistance to this particular breath is when we have a longer inhale than we do exhale. When our breathing ratio is emphasizing the inhale as opposed to emphasizing the exhale. So if you're having a difficult time with this energy, come back and check in on your ratios of your inhale length followed by your exhale length. If your inhale is in fact longer than your exhale, work to build them into balance. Meaning if it's a 4 in but only a 3 out, 3 in, 3 out, until you can get to 4 in, 4 out, and then start to expand the exhale. When that exhale is longer, then you can start to reactivate that sense of the pelvic floor and throat constriction, because that constriction is going to make the exhale take longer. And if that feels threatening, it's not going to aid our attention of being at ease in this practice. Okay? So, where are you? What are you noticing about what you feel, about what's happening in your body? In other words, you don't have to love it. You don't even have to prefer it or enjoy it. We're practicing, we're doing breath work so that we can build our capacity when we're not paying attention, or when a crisis and we don't have time to choose how we breathe. When we breathe in our breath work practice, our pranayama practice, we're looking to expand the capacity and tolerance and resilience and nuance of micro skills. So, what are you noticing? Turning your attention inward, what are you aware of? For those of you sliding into that longer exhale with ease, you might even find yourself pausing in that emptiness for just a little longer. As long as that doesn't cause a gasping on the next inhale, it can usually really feel soothing, lovely. So, without trying to change what's happening, just notice what's happening. Or the mind should wander, or perhaps worse, get bored. Come back to paying attention. See if you can start to articulate in your own headspace what you're aware of. And this is a meditation technique to hold our attention in the moment, but it works during breath too. I'm aware of the breath in. I'm aware of the breath out. I'm aware of the cool temperature of the breath in. I'm aware of my shoulder blades settling on the exhale. And just continuing to find that kind of internal, and if you're alone and can't bothering anyone, feel free to do it out loud, but creating that dialogue so that there is something for the mind to latch onto, to hold onto, to give its energy of attention to. Notice perhaps when the body wants a little bit of a longer breath, whether it's a bigger inhale or a longer exhale. Don't get stuck in a pattern that is not serving you. Instead, let the pattern be more reflective of what your body is experiencing, about what you can pay attention to. And that's to say, you might even tickle an edge and strive for a bigger, longer inhale this time. A vocal exhale to let it out. We have about 10 more rounds of breath here. So I'm going to invite you to choose one intention. And then we have a few breaths to settle. So the intention that I'm going to bring in is a little more effort, a Bhastrika breath. That's an effort on the inhale, balanced and matched by the effort on the exhale. And it's primarily happening in the diaphragm, in the rib region. It looks like this. So if you want to try that, in and out through the nose if you can. Long in, equally long out, so it's more of a samavriti, but you could also have it be a longer exhale. Take 10 rounds and then come back to just noticing what the consequences are of that effort in the breath. Notice a little bit of a tingling sensation, almost a flushing of light behind the eyes. A little bit of fatigue in my ribs and my lungs of the upper chest. Now I can feel a softening of my brow, letting go of that efforting work. Let the breath move as it wants. And as if you can step back from your own experience, just witness what's happening with your breath. What's happening with your posture? What's happening with your attention? Where is your mind's energy? Good. Let's bring our practice to a close. The hands come to rest at or on your heart. Tune in to our shared space, our shared practice. And give yourself credit for showing up, for the work that it took to be in this practice together. May you breathe deeply, move freely, labor lovingly, and live vibrantly. May you be well. Namaste.